Okay, now in this video we'll be working on the latest past year paper, which is the October-November 2020 paper 2. Okay, now in this video we'll just be working on the document production portion of the paper. Document production is basically your Microsoft Word. Now what you need in order to follow along is of course the paper, okay, the question paper, as well as the working files that you can find posted on your Google Classroom by your ICT teacher. Okay, so let's have a look at page number 2, task number 1. Okay, now it says task 1, evidence document. Open the file n220evidence.rtf. Make sure that your name, center number, and candidate number will appear on every page of this document. Save this document in your work area as N220 evidence followed by your candidate number. For example, N22 evidence 9999. You will need to place screenshots in this evidence document. Now, if you look at task 1 evidence document, right, you will see that the file is an RTF file, right? An RTF file is basically a rich text format file. Now, if you open your working folder, you will find the file here, N220 evidence. And the file size is actually 45 KB. Okay. Now the disadvantage of using a rich text format file is that the more text and images you place into it, case in point because it's an evidence document, and you need to place a lot of screenshot into it, the file size actually increases really drastically. So the first thing we need to do with the evidence document, okay, is that we're going to save it as a Microsoft Word document instead. So I'm going to save it as a Word document, and then it says that it needs to be saved with my candidate number, right? So I'm going to put my favorite candidate number 6969 and click save. Okay, so your document will be upgraded to the newest file format. Do you want to continue? Duh. So I'm going to click OK. Right, so let's have a look at the file sizes now. Okay, you have your old N220 evidence in rich text format. It is 45 KB or kilobytes. And then you have your new one that is only 13 kilobytes. So you can see that if you save your evidence document or any rich text format document as a Microsoft Word document, the file size is smaller and it's definitely more efficient. Okay, so if you save the file over the network, especially for you guys, when you are doing your midterm, your trials, or your actual exam, and you're saving it over the network to your student drive, the smaller the file size, the less likely it is for any issues to occur. Okay, so always remember to save your rich text format as a Microsoft Word document first. All right, okay, so we're done with that, and then we're going to move on to the next question. Okay. So task number 2, you are going to edit an information sheet. Okay, the company uses a corporate house style for all its documents. 2 paragraph styles have already been created. Additional paragraph styles must be created and applied to the information sheet as instructed. Okay, now question 1, open the file n220event.rtf. The page setup is set to A4, landscape orientation with 2 centimeters margin. Do not make any changes to these settings. So which means that we shouldn't make any changes to the page layout or the margin of the document. So save the document in your work area in the format of the software you are using with the file name RW details. Okay, so in the format of the software you are using, basically it's asking you to save it as a Microsoft Word document. Okay, so let's open that N220 event, and then the first thing we do is we save it as a Word document as well, and we call it RW details. RW details, okay? And I'm going to save it. I'm going to click OK, and then we are done. Right, so move on to the next question. Evidence 1. Place in your evidence document a screenshot to show this file has been saved. Make sure there is evidence of the file type. So now you need to prove to the person marking your paper that you have saved the file in the correct format. So how we do that is very simple. We just open our working folder, and then let's highlight the file that you just saved, RW details, right? Okay, so I'm just going to show the file type. Okay, so Microsoft Word document, make sure that it is displayed in full. If you show this, you're going to lose marks. So you need to display that in full. Okay, highlight it, and then I'm going to take a screenshot of that. So print screen, and then I'm going to paste that into evidence 1. Now, obviously, I have 2 screens. Okay, so I just need to focus on the portion on which the question requires me to focus on. Okay, so there you go. Right, so I've placed a screenshot highlighting the new file that I've saved in the file format Microsoft Word document. Okay, so all good, all cantik. Okay, let's move on to question number 2. Okay, now place in the header your name, center number, and candidate number center aligned. Place in the footer the automated page number right aligned. Okay, make sure that all the alignments match the page margins. No other text or placeholders are included in the header and footer areas, and header and footers are displayed on all pages. Okay, so I need to place in the header my name, center number, and candidate number center aligned. So in order for me to get to the header, I just double click on the empty space here, and then I need to go to the center. Right, you notice that if I press tab now, it's actually not in the center because the page orientation is actually in landscape and not portrait. So in order for me to be able to jump to the center, I can use this something called insert alignment tab. So I'm going to select that, and I'm going to select center. Okay, so notice that I immediately jump to the center here. Okay, so I'm going to put my name, my center number, 2, and then my candidate number, center align, right? And then it says place in the footer, right? So footer, automated page number, right align. So I'm going to put insert alignment tab. I'm going to select right, so it jumps here, and I need to put in the page number, right? So I'm just going to select page number, but instead of selecting bottom of page, I'm just going to select current position, because I want the page number to appear at where my selection is right now. So that means, so that's the reason why I select current position. Okay, so I'm going to select current position, and I'm going to select, this one. Okay, done. So let's have a look at the question and see what's next. Okay, so question number 3. Okay, we are moving on to the second page already. Now, at the start of the document, enter the title, Tawara MTB Marathon Race, whatever that is. Okay, so at the start of the document, so how do I insert something at the start of the document? Well, I just press enter to push the information down so that I have an empty space there. And then I just type Tawara MTB Marathon Race. I'm going to save that. Okay, next question. Create and store the following styles, basing each on the default paragraph styles. Okay, so these are the paragraph styles that we need to work on. Okay, the first one is RW-title, serif. Serif means fonts that have sharp edges. This is the font size. It needs to be center aligned. It needs to be bold and italic, and the line spacing needs to be single. Okay, so I need to create styles, like new styles. Now, if you look at the document here and you look at the styles portion here, right, you'll notice that there are styles that have already been created, right? Okay, now it wants you to create a style, these 3 styles, basing each on the default paragraph style. So what I'll do is I'm going to click this tiny little button here. Okay, so the styles here appear, and it says basing each on the default paragraph style. Now, the default paragraph style is basically your normal style here. So I need to make sure that I select normal before I create the new style. So I'm going to select normal first, and then at the bottom here, I'm going to select new style. So I'm going to click on that. So what is the name of my first style, right? RW-title. The font style has to be serif, meaning any font that has sharp edges, and the best font to use for a serif font is your Times New Roman. So I'm going to select Times New Roman, and then the font size should be 36 points. So I type 36, and then you'll notice that the preview actually appears here. Okay, this will be bold and italic as well. So I just click bold and italic, and then the line spacing has to be single. So I go to Format, Paragraph, and I need to make sure that the line spacing is actually single. And then you will also notice that the spacing before and after is both 0. So I need to make sure that the spacing before and after here is 0 as well. I'm going to click OK, and I'm going to select OK. Now you'll notice that the style is applied immediately to where I selected, where I place my selection in the document. Okay, so in order not to screw everything up, so once I've created the style, I can just toggle it back and I will just switch it back to normal. There you go. Okay, so let's look at the second one. RW subtitle on sans serif this time. Now sans serif is are fonts that do not have edges or sharp edges. Okay, and one well, great font to use is basically your Arial, A-R-I-A-L. Font size is 20 points, right aligned, enhancement is underlined, line spacing is single. Okay, so I'm going to again make sure that I select normal, and then I'm going to create new. So this one, RW subtitle, and then sans serif, so I'm going to leave it as Arial. I don't need to change it. The font size is 20 points, so I put 20 to 0. It should be right aligned. I'm going to select right, and then it should be underlined. Okay, and then let's see, paragraph, line spacing is single as well. Spacing before and after the paragraph is actually 0 points, so I don't need to do anything. I'm going to click OK. Now notice that it changes again, right? So I'm going to switch it back to normal again, okay, because I need to base my styles on the default paragraph style. So I always need to make sure that I select normal before I create a new style. Okay, so let's look at the last one. RW subhead, serif, 18, center, bold, underline, single, and this time the spacing after the paragraph is 8 points. Okay, so oops, okay, I'm going to go to new here, RW subhead, and serif times New Roman, font size 18 points, center, bold, underline as well. Okay, single, and then this time the after should be 8 points, so I'm going to change it to 8. So you'll notice that there's actually a small, what do you call that? The spacing after the paragraph has now changed from 0 to 8. So if you see 0, right, there's no spacing, but if you change it to 8, it's actually a spacing now. So that's what it wants. Okay, there you go. I'm going to press OK, and I'm going to switch back to normal. Okay, so let's look at the next question here. Evidence 2. Place in your evidence document a screenshot to show that the style settings have been defined for the RW subhead style. Okay, so now it needs proof that you have defined all the necessary enhancements, okay, or styles, alignments, and all that for your RW subhead style. So I'm just going to right click on it, and then I'm going to go to modify. Now the reason why I'm doing this is because I need to take a screenshot of this. So it wants to see the name of the style as well as all the settings that we've done here. So I'm going to take a screenshot, print screen, and then under evidence 2, I'm just going to crop and display what needs to be shown. Boop. Okay, there you go. All right, let's move on to the next question. Oh, okay, question number 5 now. Display these custom style names as a list in the style manager or organizer. Provide screenshot evidence of this list. So it wants you to show the list of the styles that you have created previously. So this is the list. You just need to take a screenshot of this. So print screen. And right now it's evidence 3, I think. Yeah, there you go. So the list, just the list. Okay, there you go. Cantik. Okay, moving on. Question number 6 now. The style RW-body has already been created, stored, and applied to the document text. Modify this style so only the following formatting is applied. So RW body, it wants you to modify and not create a new one. So the font style is sans serif, 10. The alignment has to be justified. Enhancement is none. Line spacing single, spacing after the paragraph is 9 points. Okay, so let's have a look here. How do we modify that? So RW body. Okay, so I'm going to right click on it and I'm going to go to modify. So let's see. The font style is sans serif. Right now it's Times New Roman, so I need to change it to Arial. Yeah, Happy New Year. Bam, bam, bam. Okay, and then the font size is actually 10 points, so I need to switch that to 10 as well. Okay, notice that the font actually becomes smaller. The alignment, instead of left align, is actually justified. Okay, I'm going to show you how justified looks like later. There's no enhancement, so I need to take away the italic. And then line spacing is single. Paragraph, line spacing is single, that's fine. Spacing after is 9 points, so I need to change this 3 to 9. Okay, so you notice that the spacing after the paragraph has actually increased. Okay, so now because RW body has already been applied to the text here, notice that when I click OK, it actually changes. Okay, so justified alignment is basically this. Okay, so this is left align. You notice that on the right here, everything is, well, not arranged in a straight vertical line. But if you change it to justified, everything is arranged accordingly. Okay, so there you go. That's what it means by justified. Okay. So place in your evidence document a screenshot of these style settings for the RW body style. So same thing, we need to show that we have modified the styles appropriately. So I'm going to right click on RW body, modify, and take a screenshot of this. Then I'm going to put that into my evidence document. So easy, so simple. Oh yeah. Alright, and there you have it. Okay, always make sure that the screenshots you put into the evidence document is legible, meaning it's not too small, so that the examiner is able to determine whether you have answered the questions correctly or not. Okay, so moving on to the next question. Now, if you guys feel tired, you can pause the video, take a break for 5 to 10 minutes, and then come back and resume. Okay, so now we're going to move on to question number 7. All right, it says apply the RW title style to the title text entered at step number 3. So step number 3. What the hell is step number 3? The Tawara MTB marathon race thing. Okay, so very simple. I'll just highlight this, and then I'm going to apply the RW dash title. So you notice that it actually changes to this. Does this need to be center aligned? Let me see. Oh, right. I screwed up. This needs to be center aligned. My bad. There you go. Okay, so enter your name. Whoops, what's the question? Enter your name immediately after the subtitle event details by. Okay, and then apply the RW dash subtitle style to this line of text. So, hand. Okay, so you need to apply the RW dash subtitle style. There you go. So next question. Change the page layout so that the subheading, event format, and all following text is displayed in 2 columns of equal width with a 2 centimeter space between the columns. So right now, the entire article is just in one huge freaking column, right? So now it wants you to change it to 2 different columns instead. Okay, so event format, so from here, okay, not from here, not from the beginning of the article, but from the 3rd paragraph onwards, right? So I'm going to select event format, make sure I highlight everything, and then what's going to happen is I'm going to go to layout, columns, and I'm going to go to more columns. Now the reason why I'm not selecting 2 here, because the question says that there has to be a 2 centimeter space between the columns. Okay, so I'm going to go to more columns, select 2, and the spacing here, I'm going to type 2 cm. Now the reason why I'm putting in cm is because there is a possibility for some of you, the unit of measurement might be in inches. So you need to make sure to type cm so that the information entered is actually in cm. Because if you just put 2 and your unit of measurement is actually in inches, you're going to have a spacing of 2 inches instead. 2 inches is quite big, to be honest. Okay, I'm going to click OK, and then you'll notice that the information here now is actually divided into 2 columns. Okay, so that's what the question wants. Now let's move on to question number 10, right? Apply bullets to the list from vipers to under 8. Make sure that the bullets are indented 2.5 centimeters from the left margin. The list is in single line spacing with no space between the lines. There is a 9-point space after the last item in the list. Okay, so let's look for that viper thingy. There you go, it's here. Viper, bison, camels, and coyotes. Okay, apply bullets, right? So I'm going to go to home and I'm just going to select bullets. Bam. Okay, so the bullets are indented 2.5 centimeters from the left margin. So I need to go to paragraph, and the indentation should be 2.5 centimeters. Single line spacing, and there is a 9-point spacing after the last item in the paragraph. So I'm going to click OK first, and then I'm just going to select the last line, go to paragraph, and then I'm going to put 9. Okay, so there's a 9-point space after the last item only. Okay, so let's continue on to question 11. Okay, now 11 says identify the 6 subheadings in the document and apply the RW dash subhead style to each one. Okay, so very simple. So the subheadings would be these, like event format, organization, entry categories, and all that. So I'm just going to highlight those. Okay, so in order for you to be able to do the multi-highlight, so you just need to hold down Control. Okay, so entry options, no, that's not it. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and you need to apply the RW subhead. So I'm just going to select RW subhead here. Okay, and it actually changes to the style that we created just now. Okay, so next question. Okay, number 12. Locate the table in the document and apply the RW-table style to the table. Okay, so the table would be this. Okay, the entire table. And then you need to apply the RW-table style to it. So I'm just going to click on RW-table. Okay. Then question 13. Delete the entire row for the novice pairs category. Okay. Entire row. So this entire row, I'm just going to highlight it, right click, and then I'm going to select delete cells. Okay, then I'm going to select delete entire row, and I'm going to click OK. So the entire row is gone. Next question, edit the table so that it looks like this. Okay, you will notice that the entry options is actually merged across the 4 columns. And then some of the information inside the row is actually aligned, how do I say this? Vertically center aligned. Okay, so let's, first of all, we need to put in the borders for the table first. As you can see, there are no lines here, so we need to add in the borders first. Okay, so I'm going to click here and I'm going to select all borders. Okay, so notice that it kind of looks like the table here now. Now, if you look at the first row here, entry options, you need to merge it across the 4 columns. So I'm going to highlight the 4 columns here, right click, and I'm going to select merge cells. Okay, then after that, you need to center align the information. So I'm going to center align that. And then you will also notice that the solo and solo veteran, okay, and the max riders here is actually merged across 2 rows as well. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to highlight the 2 rows here, right click, and I'm going to merge cells. Same thing with the notes, right click, and I'm going to merge cells as well. Okay, now I need to balance them so that they look like this. So I'm going to click this row here, I'm going to drag it down so it looks like that. And then let's see what else we need to modify. Okay, the category and age, it has to be aligned, center aligned vertically. Okay, so the solo, all these, I'm going to highlight this, and then I'm going to go to layout, and then I'm going to select this. Okay, align center left. So it will look like this. Okay, for the max riders on the other hand, it needs to be aligned to the center vertically and horizontally. So basically in the middle of the cell. So I'm going to highlight this, and then I'm going to select this, align center. So it looks like this. Okay, now I need to make sure that everything fits within the column nicely. So I'm going to pull the, I'm going to pull this out so that everything fits. Okay, now moving on to question 15. Okay, format only the first row of the table so that it has a white 14-point sans serif font. So this one has to be sans serif, so I'm going to change that to Arial. 14-point, and the font needs to be white, right? So I'm going to change it to white. And then it's bold and italic, so it's bold, italic, and has a black background. So I need to change the background of the cell to black. There you go. Okay, make sure that the table borders on and all data fit within the column width. No words are split where text is wrapped in column 4. All internal and external grid lines are displayed when printed. There is a 9-point space after the table. Okay, so the table borders and all data fit within the column width. Okay, everything fits within the column, all looks good. No words are split where text is wrapped in column number 4. So column number 4, you don't see words that are split, meaning like, for example, pair, right? Pair is actually in a full word instead of PA and then IR in the second row. Okay, all internal and external grid lines are displayed when printed. So all the grid lines are displayed, all the lines that we just put in. And there is a 9-point space after the table. Now, I can't put paragraph spacing on the table. So what I need to do is I need to select the paragraph after the table. Go to paragraph. And then I'm going to put a 9-point space before the paragraph. So that doubles as 9-point space after the table. And I'm going to press OK. Alright, number 17, spell check and proofread the document. Make sure that the list and table are not split over columns or pages. There are no widows or orphans. There are no blank pages. Spacing is consistent between all items. Save the document using the same file name and format used in step 1. Done that. Print the document. Make sure that your name, center number, and candidate number are on your document. So you need to print this document now. So I'm going to print. And I'm going to select Microsoft Print to PDF. Okay, so I'm going to print it and make sure that my printout is saved inside my working folder. So I'm going to name it printout 1. I'm going to save. So if you preview your printout, it's basically going to look like this. Okay, and we are done with the document production section of the paper. Next, we'll move on to the data manipulation portion of the paper. So data manipulation is basically your Microsoft Access.